Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best.
A couple of weeks ago, Grant, we talked about Don Cherry. Is his time up? I love him for his entertainment and his wildness. You think he's kind of lost a little bit in his later stages of his career. But right now, there's an interesting story out of Toronto that there's a feud simmering between him and Brian Burke of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Burke goes to my bosses and says, I'm a bad guy.
It goes pretty deep where allegedly Burke has gone to the Hockey Night in
CBC?
Canada brass and say, get rid of Don Cherry for saying some vicious things about my head coach. And then Cherry comes back in a 6-minute rant on Hockey Night in Canada says, well, I may have said that, but you fired him 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So what does that say? So we got a bit of a feud going. What are your thoughts on it?
On Don Cherry?
Sure.
Well, yeah, I have been sort of against Don Cherry in the past, only because I think a lot of his shtick is too much shtick and seems fabricated as opposed to authentic. Having said that, watching him a little bit this past Saturday on half that rant against Brian Burke, I was engaged in what he was saying. It seemed authentic. It seemed the real Don Cherry, and I could just tell by Ron MacLean's reaction, he didn't have to prod him too much as the sort of the sidekick to set him up for a big laugh. So I guess what I'm saying is that, to me in the past, he hasn't had enough real authenticity in his rants. I thought that was different on Saturday. So I liked what he did on Saturday, Mike. If it's legit and he's passionate, yes, he's good, he's entertaining. But if it's just a bunch of BS and look at my tie and all this and...
well, you get half and half.
Well, I think he has to have some of that. That is part of his shtick.
Sure it is.
But there has to be, to me, authentic commentary about what's going on in the NHL. And the Leafs situation is huge, especially in Southern Ontario, and to react that way I think is okay. So I'm not totally against him if it's real.
Now, here's the way I look at Grant. If I want to find some information, I'll watch Bob McKenzie or Drager. Those are the guys I like to watch and I listen to on TSN. Because
what about John Shannon and Nick Kiprios, Mike?
No, I don't, actually. But those guys I like watching because I think they've got their finger on the pulse. For Don Cherry, I come to be entertained. I love him, I love watching him, and I laugh. Not everything I agree with, but I mean, at least I watch it. Mm-hmm. So, having said that, I don't think those other guys could ever come in and take Don Cherry's place. I think there's only one guy right now in the whole world that could replace Don Cherry and gradually do the same kind of shtick, and that's Mike Milbury.
Yeah, I see why you say that, because he's a little bombastic.
Sure.
He's not afraid to say something. He's not afraid of a public perception of him. So I agree. I think many people thought Pierre Maguire would be a good replacement. I think
different kind of guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's more of a in-your-face analyst, and I think he's making big money with NBC and NBC Sports Network in the States, so he's not coming in there.
Maybe Jeremy Roenick in time could be that guy.
But interesting, though, you say that you watch TSN, you watch Drager and Bob McKenzie and those guys for their information. TSN has never, ever tried to get a Don Cherry type, have they?
Nope.
I wonder why, if it's that effective. Where CBC Hockey Night in Canada has their panel of guys, their analysts, plus they have Don Cherry. I wonder if a Don Cherry type is important. TSN's never gone that route. You know what? Their host is a little more. James Duthie is more the guy who you want to be entertained by, and he lets the other guys just do the hockey stuff.
If it was that easy, everyone would be an entertainer, Grant. There's two ways to look at sports coverage: guys that entertain and guys with information. And not always do the two intertwine. We've seen it a million times. And there's no good or bad way. I mean, they're both a necessity in the world of sports.
Yeah.
But you can't criticize one, and we've seen a lot of guys sit on their high horse saying, yeah, you guys, anyone could go in it. No, you can't. You're an information guy that the only way you can succeed is if you're set up by one of the entertainment guys.
So you're saying even though Don Cherry has taken a lot of body blows the last few years for not being effective, you're saying what he's done, and I think what we saw last weekend, last Saturday, proves he's still got it.
Oh, yeah. And most of the guys that are bitching about him are media guys, Grant. That's what the whole point is here. And
he still gets the numbers, and he makes money, and I guess that's the bottom line.
He still mispronounces his name, gets numbers wrong, but he still is there for the entertainment aspect. How long he'll last, I don't know. The whole thing is CBC should just be riding the wave as long as they can.
Well, they probably are.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like the Flames won't make any changes until the corporate sponsors stop signing the checks.
Yep.
When the sponsors stop going to Hockey Night Canada, when the viewers stop watching Don Cherry, that'll be the definitive answer. Nothing to do with him.
Yeah. I want to take a short break, and when we come back, I want to talk about some more media things to make you think.
Ooh.
It's interesting, you know, you watch all the different media types, and sometimes I wonder what the, and I'm guilty of it, you're guilty of it. When you're in the spotlight, sometimes you feel a little pressured to say something, and it comes out wrong, or you kind of, boy, I wish I had that one to say over again many times. But recently, I've been watching, I've watched the Flames on Sportsnet, a couple things. Brad May came out, and he was talking as they're going into the third period against Dallas, and he said, yeah, I like Calgary's chances. They've showed no quit whatsoever in the third period this year. And I go, what the hell team have you been watching?
Wait a sec. The Flames have had bad seconds, but they have blown leads. Is that what you're...
Sure. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
they have blown leads, but they've showed some fight in the third.
Yeah, but... And then another one, when Stajan got his second goal, Rob Kerr said, maybe this is the one that's going to open the floodgates. And okay, Stajan, no.
So what's your point? That these guys are saying things they are just...
Sometimes
they want do-overs?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
First of all, in the Brad May, to me, what you have now, you have these networks doing like Calgary games, Edmonton games, and they go back to
an office in Toronto or a set in Toronto.
And they don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on with that team, so they just say the hockey BS.
Yeah.
What they've said before, but other teams. And so to me, that's a big problem.
But that's what TSN's doing too, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess they are, but I'm saying that to me is always a problem with the way sports networks do it, not just with Sportsnet and the Flames.
Yeah.
But TSN is still more than network. They're not trying to be your local guy. I guess that's why Sportsnet tries to bring in Rhett Warner and have an expert guy right there at the rink more often than not, for him to analyze it properly with some knowledge of the game. But
when you've got a team sponsoring that, are you truly getting the stuff, the dirt, and the true, honest assessment?
The Flames don't just sponsor. The Flames manage that telecast a lot.
Yes.
They, unlike in years past where TV networks would give money to the team for the honor of televising those games, now the Flames have a piece of the management, of the production. So therefore, it's much more difficult. But it's the American model. Although, you come teams from Dallas and Phoenix and Los Angeles, the team has a major say in that broadcast.
How would you rank Hockey Night in Canada, TSN, Sportsnet, and NBC in the way they cover the NHL and the way they present it?
You know who I think is arguably number one with fighting with TSN? NBC.
That's my number one choice.
But should we be surprised that Americans don't know how to cover sports? I mean, they cover sports better than anybody, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they could probably...
But this is Canada's game, Grant.
I mean, but so what?
But I'm saying...
But TV production is different. TV production, I know what you're saying to a certain extent. That's why I think TSN is rivaling them right there.
Sure.
TSN has an image, a style, announcers, and they do it right. In my opinion.
I agree.
They do it
100%.
better than anybody. They do it better than Hockey Night in Canada.
Sure they do. Yeah.
But to me,
Hockey Night in Canada has lost its edge.
They've lost talent too.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Cuthbert, the number one hockey guy for TSN, was in the stable of CBC for football and hockey.
Yeah.
Now Chris Cuthbert is the football guy for the CFL on TSN and the number one NHL guy. But NBC does it right.
Yeah.
Mike Emmerich is an outstanding play-by-play guy. And then you've got Pierre Maguire down between the benches. Sometimes you have Eddie Olczyk up top or Darren Pang or somewhere like that. Then you go into the studio. They've got a pretty good host who knows what he's talking about. Sets up Milbury or Jeremy Roenick.
Roenick,
or Jones too.
Yep.
So But I shouldn't be surprised. Americans do TV sports better than anybody in the whole world, in my opinion.
Yeah, it just, I just watched it. I didn't always like what the Americans did, NBC did with hockey, but they've sure come up, and those are the two that I watch, TSN and that.
Yep.